that have come out as far as the trade with Mauritius is concerned. Now, as per the latest data that has been recorded for the 2023-2024 financial year, the bilateral trade, that is the total imports and exports, stand at $851.13 million. Now, India's key exports include mineral fuels, motor vehicles, pharmaceuticals, cotton and cereals, and key imports also include iron and steel, medical instruments, aluminium and articles of wood. We've of course seen a bilateral trade, but that is not all. India has always lent a helping hand to Mauritius as well. We remember the aid that we had given during the COVID-19, and what's interesting is that recently our Foreign Secretary Ambassador Vikram Misri had informed of some interesting statistics as far as grant and aid is concerned. We've given a total of $1.1 billion in development assistance over the last decade, out of which $729 million was line of credit and $427 million was grant assistance. And speaking of grant assistance, Prime Minister Modi will be inaugurating the Civil Service College and the Area Health Center. These are two important buildings that have been constructed with India's help, with India's grant assistance in particular. Joining me on the broadcast this morning is Dr. Sharad Kohli, Senior Economist. Sir, thank you so much for taking out time speaking to NewsX. I've of course, shared a lot of statistics as far as the bilateral trade, as far as the grant assistance is concerned. What is your perspective? Mauritius, of course, looking at the double taxation issue, tackling it this time around. Where do you see this headed?
Good morning, Pia. Good morning to the viewers of NewsX. I think India and Mauritius share a very special bond, as you rightly said, culturally, strategically, and of course, very important is economically. Mauritius is the doorway for Africa, for India, and the bilateral trade between the two countries is now heading close to $1 billion. I mean, if we if we take the updated figures, you will find that we are heading close to $1 billion. And if you look at the items, which are exported from India, right from mineral fuels to distillation products to pharmaceuticals, vehicles, cereals, cotton, motor vehicles, telecom instruments, drug formulation, cotton yarn, there's a long list. And India has a trade surplus with Mauritius, which is we are exporting more to Mauritius. We are importing very less from Mauritius. So Mauritius is heavily dependent on India as far as the merchandise is concerned. Even the information technology services are now being placed in Mauritius from India, for which India has a prowess anyway worldwide. India is known for IT services worldwide. So culturally, yes, as you rightly said, 70% of the population, they have their roots in India. And I think India-Mauritius relationship goes to centuries ago. It's not. And I'm so glad to notice, Priya, that India-Mauritius relations have moved on. When what happened, some time ago between India and Mauritius, when some of the, ministers in Mauritius had made adverse comments about India, tourism got affected. A lot of Indians, they cancelled. This happened in Maldives also. And then there were some hidden voices coming from Mauritius, but thankfully, those voices were not as pronounced as they were in Maldives. So India-Mauritius relations continue to be very healthy. And I'm so glad that the Prime Minister is attending the National Day tomorrow. And I think this will go a long way in promoting India-Mauritius relationships in the times to come. I'm sure the trade is going to flourish. There is a comprehensive economic agreement which was signed between India and Mauritius in 2021. And I'm sure that agreement is going to be taken to the next level after this visit of the Prime Minister. And we're going to see a lot more tourists visiting Mauritius in the times to come, because every time Prime Minister visits an island nation like this, it always gives boost to tourism. And there is already a lot of tourists going from India to Mauritius for a very long time. But you will see this spurred further in the times to come, Pia.
Indeed, sir. I'd like to thank you for taking our time sitting with us on NewsX. We also have with us Professor Madhav Nalapat, Editorial Director of the Sunday Guardian. Sir, good morning. And we're of course tracking the Prime Minister's visit to Mauritius. I've discussed the economic aspect with Dr. Kohli, but I was highlighting something just before that. It's the very special gesture the fact that when Prime Minister Modi touched down in Port Louis, it was none other than the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, who received him over there. And we're being told that there were more than 200 top dignitaries, including the Deputy Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of Mauritius, Speaker of their National Assembly, Leader of Opposition, Foreign Minister, Cabinet Secretary, Chairperson of the Grand Port District Council. All of them were present. There was a ceremonial guard of honor. Do you think this special gesture is now setting the tone for what's to come in the future? The fact that our enduring ties we are just going to continue to bolster them?
Look, I would like to say that the Prime Minister took a very wise decision to accept the invitation to go and preside as a guest of honor at the National Day celebrations of Mauritius. You know, please understand that Mauritius is an extremely important part of the Indo-Pacific, and it's been involved in a lot of disputes, most notably with the Chagos Island. India has very firmly supported this Chagos Island too in terms of sovereignty, and has also said it towards a resolution of the differences between UK and Mauritius. So I think it will be well placed to play that role. Mauritius is very close to India culturally. Mauritius has had, as you said, centuries of history with India. And I'd like to say the Prime Minister's visit is very welcome. The Mauritius invitation is very welcome. And don't forget, there's been a lot of effort by China to have control in Mauritius. They do the same thing in Maldives. But of course, the fact is this, that Mauritius clearly that Mauritius is standing tall and is resisting any such pressure, whether it's pressure from Great Britain, whether it's pressure from China. And I'd like to say that it can counter India under Prime Minister Modi. That's what Prime Minister's visit signifies, that you have a steady, steadfast, 24/7, all-weather friend in it. And I think that very powerful message is going to resonate at the National Day celebration in Port Louis.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for taking our time, sitting with us this morning. Of course, sharing your insights into what we